The Serbian family that had found Bogdonavich led him across the pasture toward their home. They spoke to him in their language, but he could follow only part of it. Now Bogdonavich wished he'd practiced Serbian with his dad more often. He'd have to get by with what he could remember. He gathered that the family intended to shelter him. "You stay in our barn," the old man said in Serbian. 3 outbuildings stood near the house, and one was bigger than the others. Bogdanovich figured the large structure for the barn, and he guessed the others were chicken coops or tool sheds. The 2-story barn sat on a stone foundation. Rocks, most likely pulled from nearby fields, made up the walls of the first floor. The second floor was built of logs, and a wood-tiled roof topped the building. Beside the barn, a pitchfork rested in a haystack taller than a man's head. In a fenced pasture adjacent to the barn, a milk cow chewed her cud and flicked her brown ears at buzzing flies. 3 goats romped on the other side of the pasture. Yellow and white wildflowers sprinkled color through the grass along the fence line. Bogdanovich ducked to enter the barn's stone first floor. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, he saw a collection of farm tools: a plow, a hay rake, shovels, hoes, and axes. A ladder built of tree limbs lashed together led to the upper floor. The old man pointed, and Bogdanovich climbed the ladder. The effort hurt. His joints and tendons remained sore from his bailout. Upstairs he found a hayloft. The straw smelled like freshly cut wheat, with no hint of mildew. The hayloft seemed as good a place to hide as any, though not perfect. Bogdanovich figured he could burrow into the straw to hide from casual observers. But if the Krauts brought dogs or started probing the straw with bayonets, it was game over. "Hvala vam," Bogdanovich said. "Thank you." Then he added, "The boy, your grandson?" "Da," the old man said. "His mother is my daughter. His father is a freedom fighter." That sounded good to Bogdanovich. He couldn't guess the local politics, whether his benefactors were partisan, Chetnik, or something else. But apparently this man's son-in-law was fighting against Germans in one capacity or another. Bogdanovich remembered how his father had followed events closely. In 1941, the Belgrade government signed onto the Tripartite Pact, joining the alliance of Germany, Italy, and Japan. 2 days later, a coup d'etat overthrew the Axis-leaning government and installed King Peter II, a mere teenager. The coup invited Hitler's wrath. But if German soldiers had believed they'd easily defeat an inferior Slavic people, they were learning a different lesson in the hills of Yugoslavia.